There are plenty of ferries still going to France, but there are few passengers to ferry. At Dover, the boats almost outnumber the cars. That was all supposed to change on Monday, but with the need to quarantine on return now remaining, so too will the lack of traffic. Ian Marcroft booked a holiday in France with his family for later this month, on the basis the fully vaccinated could avoid quarantine when coming home, but he's now been forced to cancel.
This has happened in such a short period of time, and the government don't seem to be able to act in a proactive manner that gives people enough time to be able to plan all these things, especially when you've got a lot of loops that you've got to jump through. PCR testing, you've got to get those in place. You've got to get certificates uploaded to portals and make sure that you've got everything, all the relevant paperwork to do everything. It's just massively frustrating for people.
There'll be thousands in the same position as Ian, with travel firms equally frustrated. Hopes of a recovery for the industry are once again put on hold.
The problem is when you have these very arbitrary changes coming in at very short notice, it has a very bad impact on the public's confidence in taking overseas holidays. The government needs to give some financial assistance to the travel industry. We've had very little, apart from access to the furlough scheme, which has been for all industries, and we've been by far the worst affected.
To add to the chaos and confusion, France has imposed new rules of its own for those going the other way. For anyone who is still planning on crossing the Channel, by whatever means, they now require proof of a negative PCR test done no more than 24 hours before departure. It used to be 48 hours. And with those tests that now still need to be done on return, it makes for an expensive trip. The government here says it's concerned about cases of the beta variant in France, the mutation first identified in South Africa. It accounts for less than 10% of cases there, while daily infections are well below UK levels. But some scientists think ministers are right to be wary, as the beta variant may be more resistant to vaccines.
We have to be careful about introducing more inputs into this mixing pot of the UK with these surging numbers of infections. You may see international recombinations of this virus going forward into the winter. And of course, when flu and other respiratory viruses come back, as well as the cold winter month morbidity and mortality that we see every year as well, this could make the winter season very difficult for the NHS.
So just as some were hoping to surge out of the UK, barriers have reappeared. In some ways, our nearest neighbour has never seemed so far away. Ivor Bennett, Sky News, Dover.